Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to NUCLEUS NEET. I am Aishwarya and I'll be your guide in this exciting journey of learning biology for class 11 and 12 NCERT. The channel is going to be your one-stop destination for NEET biology preparation, where concepts will be explained in the simplest way with complete NCERT coverage, tips and tricks to make preparation easier and smarter. Whether you are starting from the basics or revising your final lap, you'll find everything here in a structured, clear, and exam oriented manner. So, if you're ready to fall in love with biology and crack NEET with confidence, then you are at the right place. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon and stay tuned because together we are going to make biology not just easy but interesting. So let's go grow this channel together and let's get started with our first chapter, that is the living world. When we look at the chapter name, what exactly do you understand by the words which are given in this? Yeah. What exactly is world? It's a place where both non living and living objects stay. Non living and living, where both the living and non living objects stay. Yeah. When we are speaking about living world, it is specifically saying that we are speaking about the objects which are living. So we are going to study about all of those organisms that are living entities. So we are going to study about all the living organisms present in the world and that are alive, and features that differentiate both living and both these living and non-living objects. And to know more, this chapter introduces us to the basic characteristics of life, diversity of organisms, and how scientists classify them to study systematically. Yeah. So let's look at the meaning of this word living. What exactly does living mean? It means living beings or organisms. Yeah. So living beings or living organisms, those who exhibit characteristics like growth, reproduction, metabolism, consciousness, and they self organize or cellular organization is present in them. Yeah. So organisms which show or entities which show all of these characteristics are considered to be living organisms. Living beings have their own specific form and structure. Based on these characteristics, living beings can be recognized as trees, birds, cattle, fungi, and human beings. What does exactly this mean? Living beings have their own specific form and structure. When I say look around you, look around the world where you're present. When and close your eyes and imagine about a tree. Do you imagine tree to be in a specific form? Or if I'll say draw a tree, how exactly will you draw? This is how most people draw a tree. That's how you visualize. That's how you see a tree to be. How exactly do you visualize a leaf to be? Exactly like this. Yeah. How exactly do you visualize when you say imagine a human being? You'll get a specific form of a human being. Am I right? And cattle, you'll get a specific image of them, fungi, birds, all of them, even though being a living organism, still they exhibit their own specific form. All of them exist in their own structure, and all of them are very different physically, genetically, everything from each other. They differentiate from each other. And based on these characteristics, living beings can be recognized as trees, birds, cattle, fungi, and human beings. All of them are living, and what makes them living are them exhibiting characters like growth, reproduction, self-consciousness, which are present in humans, consciousness, all of them. Yeah. Now let's go growth. As we have seen, let's define basic characteristics of life or features which differentiate living and non-living things. Yeah. When we go to characteristic features of living organisms or living beings, we see, as we have seen, certain characteristics like growth was there, reproduction was there, consciousness was there, metabolism was there. Now let's define individually what exactly are they, and let's even see what characteristics are a defining feature of a living organism. Let's go to growth. What exactly growth is? Increase in mass and increase in number of individuals are twin characteristics of growth. Yeah. What exactly does that mean? Cell division is taking place. Yeah. So let's see, if there is a cell, they divide to become two cells. They further divide to become again many number of cells. What happens here is the single cell. Here at end result we have got four cells. Mass is increased and number of cells also have increased. So growth, if we will see, growth, increase in mass and increase in number of individuals are twin characteristics of growth. In multicellular organism, if we will see, they grow by cell division. Like for example, let's see human beings. Humans. How exactly human beings are formed? By sexual reproduction, by the formation of by the formation of zygote. Yeah, ovum and sperm unite to form zygote. So this zygote is a single cell, but here human being we see is a multicellular organism. How does this happen? How does a single cell, which is a zygote, gets turned into a multicellular organism, which are we present right now? This happens through multiple cell divisions which occur. Yeah, like many number of cell is present. This zygote undergoes many stages of gastrulation, and then cell divisions occur, and then human body is divided into many number of different layers. Yeah, and these layers again then organize, these cells organize to tissues, and then those tissues to organs, and then finally form a organism. What is the basic thing which goes here is a single cell dividing itself to become a multicellular organism. Am I right? So here, if we see multicellular organism, they grow by cell division. Yeah. Now let's see plant. Plant is also a multicellular organism. They grow throughout their life. How does that happen? Because meristematic tissues are there. Meristem. Yeah. Meristematic tissues are present, which are nothing but as stem cells. That was the reason these meristematic tissues remain active throughout their life. For that reason, plant grow throughout their life. Yeah. Animals, they grow up to a certain age, but cell division occurs to replace the lost cells. What does this mean? Like for example, if we get burnt, yeah, you'll see after a few days the skin which was burnt, which turned out to be black in color, it's completely replaced through new cells. How does that happen? That happens through cell division. Cell division occurs and these cells are replaced by the new cells. If we see, we have our hand and we got a cut there. Yeah. So this after some days again appears to be normal. How does that happen? Cell division happens and they replace all the lost cells. Yeah. This is the case of multicellular organism where they grow by cell division. Now let's look into unicellular organisms. They multiply by cell division. Here, I didn't use the word grow specifically because we have seen that in when we have seen that increase in number of cells and increase in mass of cells are twin characteristic of of growth of individual, right? So when I have not used grow here, because unicellular organism does not grow by cell division, it basically multiply by cell division. Please understand the difference, where multicellular organism, they grow by cell division. Here it's seen, right? Single cell division occurs, they go on occurring cell division, and then they grow to be a multicellular organism or a human. Yeah. When we see look into the unicellular organism, the concept of growth is very much different here, because growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive here. What does that mean? What does mutually inclusive means? Yeah, like one at the same, both are one at the same. In the case of unicellular organism, a single cell is there. Let's imagine it to be amoeba. Yeah. So in multicellular organism, we have seen, here is the example, we have seen single cell is present. They grow, they divide a lot of cells, a lot of cell division occurs, then they form tissue and then organ and organ system. But here, when unicellular organism, they separate to form two new daughter cells. Basically, here what is happening? Here cell division is happening, and cell division is happening, and growth is happening. But here there is no growth. What is happening here? Here reproduction is happening basically. Yeah. So single amoeba, it's getting converted to two cells which are called as its daughter cells. What happened? Amoeba just gave birth to two of its cells which are called as daughter cells. Now they further again divide to form two cells. They again further divide to form two cells. Yeah. So that is why growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive in unicellular organism. Whereas in multicellular organism, a single cell divides, cell division occurs, and grow internally, increase in body size, and get converted into a proper organism. So here growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. What does exclusive means? Here in multicellular organism, growth is different from reproduction, whereas in unicellular organism it's the same. That's why in multicellular organism, reproduction and growth are exclusive, mutually exclusive, whereas in unicellular organism both are mutually inclusive events. Let's look at non-living things. Like we have seen that growth is a characteristic feature of living organism, right? Now let's look at some of the exceptions, right? What does growth mean? Increase in body size or mass, right? So non-living things like mountains, stones, etc., they also grow in size, but growth here is external. Yeah. External, how exactly does that happen? There is a rock, and external materials, they come and accumulate over and over again. We have seen people saying, even we even see here a lot in real life as well, where a stone kept was little in size a few years ago, but later on when we'll see, it has grown. How exactly does it happen? A lot of similar particles, they go on accumulating on its surface, and in meantime what actually happens is the cell, they grow, but that growth is external, not internal. Okay. So this type of external growth, it is called as accretion, addition of material outside, that happens in non-living things. Yeah. And when we will see, as we have seen, internal growth which happens through cell division. I've given an example of human, it goes with all the organisms, living organisms, multicellular. So here interception, what exactly does this mean? Internal growth shown by living organism. Yeah. Interception means internal growth shown by living organism. This is called as, now, reproduction. We have seen growth being the defining feature of the individual. Now let's see reproduction. Yeah. So what does reproduction means? Production means producing something. Re means producing something of similar pattern. Yeah. So production of progeny, like for example, a human reproduces, giving birth, human reproduces, giving birth to a child who is similar looking to itself. That is what is reproduction. That is, again, it is forming something, a human is forming something which exactly looks like him only or her. Yeah. So even in plants, we can see, yeah, and even unicellular organism, all of that. Reproduction is nothing but production of progeny. Yeah, reproduction are of two types: asexual and sexual. Yeah, asexual reproduction is uniparental, and sexual reproduction is usually by. Here in asexual reproduction, you can see no gametes are produced. Yeah, whereas in sexual reproduction, it involves the formation and fusion of gametes, usually egg and sperm. There are different types of gametes present in different types of organisms, even in plants and different kinds of animals as well. So I'm just giving example of humans here, so that for a better understanding. uh, Here in asexual, no gametes are produced. We can see some unique way how exactly a new progeny is generated in asexual reproduction. Some of these are the examples, one being budding. Examples: yeast and hydra. In yeast, if we will see, organism itself is present, they grow a bud, and this bud detaches from the mother cell. Yeah, in hydra, if we will see again, a bud is grown, and after some time this bud detaches from mother. Yeah, planaria, we can see regeneration. uh, what exactly happens here is, planaria is present. Yeah, if we cut it to three pieces, four pieces, no matter how many, what happens is, this again grows back to a new individual, this and this. So here, after cutting this one planaria, three are generated. That is regeneration. Yeah. Now let's look into binary fission. Binary is two. Yeah. Amoeba, if we will see, there is a single cell or a single amoeba which is present. This divides into two, which is fission. Fission is nothing but division. Yeah, divides into two daughter cells. There even multiple fission can be seen, where a single cell is giving rise to multiple new cells. Yeah, fragmentation in Spirogera. Spirogera is present. Yeah, when we cut them into fragments, again each fragment can grow to a new Spirogera. Yeah, so these are some of the examples of asexual reproduction or forms of asexual reproduction, and these are some of the examples of uh, asexual reproduction. Whereas in sexual reproduction, it's usually biparental, and it involves the formation and fusion of gametes. Unicellular organisms like amoeba. Yeah. So reproduction is synonymous with growth, that is increase in cell mass. Yeah. So I've already discussed the same thing in growth concept. Uh, if we have to consider reproduction itself as a characteristic feature of a living organism, then there are certain exceptions which come with it. Like, for example, there are many sterile humans which cannot reproduce, which cannot give birth to a new individual. There are worker bees which cannot give birth. There are mules which are, they cannot reproduce. So these are the exceptions. So if saying reproduction is a characteristic feature which differs a living being and a non-living being, then it's not. It's not a defining feature. Obviously, it's a characteristic feature, only living organisms reproduce. That doesn't mean non-living ones reproduce, but there are certain exceptions to it. So that is the reason we cannot use reproduction to be a defining property of living beings. That reproduction, looking at the reproduction, we can say that yes, living organism can be differentiated from non-living beings. That can't happen. So it's not a proper defining property or a feature of living beings. Yeah. We have seen growth cannot be a defining feature. We have seen reproduction also cannot be a defining feature of living organism. Now let's look into one of the aspect, which is third, which is metabolism. What exactly does metabolism means? Yeah, metabolism means sum total of all chemical or biochemical reactions occurring in our body. Yeah, right now we are present. Yeah, respiration is occurring. Yeah, digestion is occurring, and something is getting absorbed. Protein is being synthesized. All of these, what are they? Something, some complex material is broken down into simpler substances, not just in humans, in any every other organism which are present on the earth. So what exactly are these? These are nothing but biochemical reactions which are happening. Yeah. So occurring in our body. Yeah. So sum total of all these biochemical reactions which are happening in our body, that is called as metabolism. This metabolism is further divided into catabolism and anabolism. Yeah. What does catabolism means? Catabolism means here you can see structure of a complex molecule or a large molecule. Yeah. This is a large molecule. So this large molecule is being broken down into these number of smaller molecules. So it is broken down into smaller. Larger molecules are being broken down into smaller molecules, that is called as catabolism. In this process of breakdown of large molecules to smaller ones, energy is released. Yeah, which is ATP. Yeah, energy is released in this process. Whereas if we come to anabolism, here smaller substances are used to make a larger molecule, which is exactly opposite to catabolism. Yeah, here larger one were broken down to form smaller molecules, but here the smaller molecules are used to synthesize a larger molecule. uh, Here a classic example catabolism is respiration. Yeah, and here in the process ATP is released, and this energy we can use for multiple things like eating, walking, running, sitting, writing, studying, any of that. The energy released is used for many other processes here, whereas in anabolism energy is taken, uptake of energy happens here for muscle growth, for protein synthesis, etc. Like for example, simple amino acids are used to synthesize protein, a complex protein. In this process, energy is used. One more classic example being Another classic example of anabolism might be photosynthesis. Yeah. So we have learned the same thing, same usual definition of photosynthesis since of childhood, that using simpler substances like carbon dioxide, water, and light, a complex substance which is glucose. Yeah, that is formed. Yes, so that is a classic example of anabolism. When we say metabolic reactions, it is nothing but uh, a biochemical reaction when these metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body in a cell-free systems. Yeah. So there is a lab, in vitro cultures, you either in test tube, these can be demonstrated. An isolated metabolic reaction outside body performed in test tube in vitro, it's neither living nor non-living. Yeah. What exactly does that mean? There is a test tube here. There is a reaction going on here. Here, there are no cells present. There is no organ present. There is no organism present. Basically, there is no living entity which is involved here, but still a chemical reaction is occurring because of the use of enzymes, and these enzymes are extracted. These enzymes, they are extracted from cells itself, from living cells, from living organisms. And these enzymes are extracted from different stages of glycolysis to exactly see how exactly glucose is broken down to pyruvate, or even protein synthesis. Many enzymes involved in them are extracted and seen how exactly the process goes on. Yeah. So here, if we will see, there are just living enzymes which have been extracted from living systems. Yeah, living systems, they have been extracted and being performed in a laboratory conditions in a test tube. There is no cells present, no organ, neither a organism present. So no non so an isolated metabolic reaction outside body performed in a test tube is neither living nor non-living. Yeah, if a question comes, then probably you have to answer it's neither living nor non-living, because there are no living entities present. Yeah, but still the reaction is going on. Yeah, right, the living reaction is going on, but no living entities are present, so it's not even non-living, it's neither living. And of course, no non-living object exhibits metabolism. Yeah, so that's hence metabolism is a defining feature of living organism. When we differentiate a living from non-living, we say that metabolism metabolism, it's a defining feature. Metabolism is taking place, that's why this is living, and metabolism is not taking place, that's why it's non-living. Yeah, hence metabolism is a defining feature. Let's look into consciousness. Consciousness again is a defining feature. Yeah, it's a characteristic feature of a living organism, and it's also a defining feature. Why I'm saying this? See, now take your example. You're sitting somewhere. Yeah, what exactly does consciousness means? First, let's look into it. Ability to sense their surroundings. Yeah, or environment, and respond. This is very important. Respond to external stimuli. Yeah, which could be physical, chemical, or biological. Yeah, what exactly does that mean? Ability to sense their surroundings. Yeah, let's look. Like, for example, let's take your example. You're sitting somewhere, uh, you, or you're moving somewhere. Yeah, you get up and you move and you get hit by a table. Do you feel the pain? You get hit on your toe and you react. You suddenly jerk or you move backwards. Yeah, so what exactly are you doing? You are sensing your surrounding. What exactly is happening? You are feeling that there is something wrong which has happened, and I was hit by something and I have to react for it. So you immediately react by removing your leg from there. Yeah. Similar, if we can see there is a flame present. Yeah. There is a flame, there is a candle. By mistake, you take your hand there. Yeah. You get burned and you immediately remove your hand from there. What exactly is this? Reacting to external stimulus. Yeah. Your body is reacting and it's removing its hand, which is self consciousness, which is present in humans. Self consciousness. Yeah, you're self conscious about the surrounding and reacting accordingly. Yeah, when we say consciousness which is present in each and every living organism, what exactly does that mean? Like, for example, photoperiod. Yeah, it affects reproduction in many animals. It affects both plants and animals. And if you will let's take a classic example of sunflower. Why exactly is it called as a sunflower? Because there is a sun present, it faces towards the sun, it is reacting to the light which is coming from sun. Yeah, so sun, this light is a external stimuli to which this living organism, which is a sunflower, it is reacting to this light. Yeah, We can see many, as I've said, animals reacting to any of the physical pain or animal behavior. If we will see, like animals, how exactly do they react when they are given food, yeah, salivating, and all of it. Now prokaryotes, if we will see, like for example, amoeba, yeah, there are prokaryotes present, there is nutrients present here, so they tend to move towards it, yeah. So all these are consciousness which is present only in living organisms. Only living organism exhibit this consciousness. It's a characteristic feature and it's a defining feature as well. Human exhibit self consciousness, yeah. They are completely aware of themselves. I've given the examples. In biology, exceptions exist everywhere in each and every example, yeah. In consciousness as well, like for example, patients lying in coma, we can see they are supported just by machines. Otherwise, if those machines are removed, then probably that person is will die. Anyway, that person is brain dead and is not aware of his surrounding, yeah. So it's a brain dead case where the person is just uh, surviving because of machines, yeah. So such persons lying in coma, they are neither living nor dead, right? So because the patient has no self consciousness, otherwise the patient is brain dead only. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching so far. Any We will see about the taxonomy and systematics and how exactly individual is named, all the rules in coming videos. Like the video, share and subscribe, and any doubts you have, then kindly comment down. I'll take up all the doubts after completion of every chapter.